friend. Today we are going to take a look at the Ajna Center. So the Ajna Center is an awareness center, and it is about conceptualization. So what's really fun is that the biology that is associated with this center is the neocortex, the visual cortex, and the pituitary glands. So there is anterior and posterior pituitary glands that really are our maintenance hub of our bodies. It's, talking to our hormones and our thyroid and, indicating what needs to be expressed at that moment for the health and wellness of our bodies. So what's really important is, again, that comprehension, that design is here to introduce us to not making the decision from the mind. So just for a moment, just go, okay, so this Ajna center that has the pituitary glands, when it's all gummed up and murky and distracted by trying to make decisions, imagine what's happening in that maintenance hub. That maintenance hub is having some resistance as to getting out those correct signals to the hormones so that they function properly in the body. So the Ajna Center is the processing hub that transforms the pressure from the head, and that's going to be in our next video, into useful information for review, research, and communication. It's the interpreter or conceptualization center. So it's conceptualizing. It is how we perceive the world through visual and acoustic means. And it operates over all time, past, present, and future. So a decision made mentally has a long shelf life and can be mulled over till death. So if we're making decisions through our minds, that mind is constantly saying the woulda, shoulda, coulda. Constantly. I should have done this. Or if I would have done this, this could have happened. And then imagine that these pituitary glands are trying to give correct signals to the body. And all of a sudden the mind is taking you to the past, and the physical body doesn't know any different. The physical body has no idea that you're actually not in that situation right now. So it takes you back to the past. And then all of a sudden the hormones that, the signals that are being given off of the pituitary glands isn't really where your body is right in the moment. The mind is convincing those pituitary glands to excrete the information based off of what your body was doing back then. But all of a sudden, this rush of hormones is happening. The thyroid isn't acting correctly. Because the mind can work in all stages. It can be here, right now. It can be in the past. It can be in the future. And if we're making decisions from the mind is constantly, blah, 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 blah. What I love is that when I look back at decisions that were made through me following my strategy and authority, even though, up until 6 years ago, I had no idea what that even meant. But I know that when I look back at major decisions in my life, those major decisions were really made correctly because I could feel it in my body. And decisions that I made through my mind, oh yeah, I can still totally go back there and woulda, shoulda, coulda, that all over that. But now I'm aware of what the Ajna Center, this really is about my pituitary glands. So it's really, being fully conscious that there is absolutely nothing I can do about decisions that were made from my mind. Nothing. All I can do right now is move forward with my own strategy and authority and allow for, the pituitary gland to be healthy, to live right here, right now, and communicate to my body what I need in this moment right now. Not about what happened in the past or what I'm thinking about in the future. None of that. So, it replays when you're making decisions through the mind. So the Ajna Center really is here. It's here to measure the this and the that. So if you're making decisions from that measuring place, then you're trapped in a never-ending cycle of the mind giving you opinions and never making the correct decision for you, right? So if we're trying to make it through the mind, you try something and it doesn't work, well, the mind says, well, then do this. So then you go do that. And then the mind says, oh, well, we'll do this. Oh, shit. That didn't work either? Okay, well, we'll go do this. The whole time, the body is, taking all of that resistance, and it's very difficult for the body to be in a state of repair if all of that resistance is in the way, because the mind is just dragging the body through all of this stuff. Now, if you can just step into the strategy and authority, totally different. So, one thing that's really interesting, right, is that we have these mental projectors, and their Ajna centers are defined. It could be the head, the Ajna, and the throat, all depending. And, they really have strong minds. But the mind isn't here to make the decision. It is through speaking that the decision will be made, and then the pituitary glands can act in a healthy way. So there's mental anxiety here. Every awareness center has some kind of fear, and there's mental anxiety, as is the fear that lies here. And really it's a fear about, not knowing something or being misunderstood. So there's this anxiety about that. One of the most highly medicated symptoms of a not self life is the anxiety, followed by depression. Those two interactions that happen in our bodies, physically, chemically, that's what's going on. And it's just so that we become aware. But now what we've tried to do is medicate it so that it doesn't happen. And I'm not, again, no doctor, and I'm not judging anybody that has used pharmaceuticals to maneuver through that piece of their lives. But what design does is says, okay, let's just give the mind a break. Let's give it a rest from all of that, chaos and distraction, and let it really do its job. So if it's defined, there's a fixed way that this, that when it's defined, it's a fixed way for you to conceptualize. It's specific, you can trust it, this mental function. What's really funny is that, these people, it's really hard to change their mind. You can tell them all kind of experiences, but they're not going to change your mind. So if defined in the throat, they can really speak their mind as well. And the terrible part about this is that instead of using it as a beautiful outer authority, right? Like all of our minds are beautiful outer authorities, but people that have defined head and Ajna centers in particular, and just defined Ajna centers as well, they have this beautiful outer authority because they have one way of seeing it, right? So then they can speak that. and share it with people. And then, you know, somebody else might have another way of seeing it and speaking it. And then, you know, all these different perceptions are out in the world, and that's great. That's totally great. But the terrible part here is that when it's defined, holy man, it becomes obsessive and then wants to make decisions from that mind. So just take that into account if you have a defined Ajna center. The mind is a beautiful outer authority, but that mind is not here to make decisions for you. If you're here in the shoulda, woulda, coulda, it's taking you down a wrong path. So undefined, you know, if the Ajna is actually undefined, so is the head center, okay? And we're going to talk about the head center. So this mind is very open and flexible. So the wisdom here is the discernment of valuable concepts. And then when making decisions with the strategy and authority, the mind can really be a playground. And this is something that I have a completely open Ajna, just like this picture here on them. So there's nothing actually, there's no gates or traits that are attached here, and same with my head center. And what I totally love is that now I can see how it kind of plays hand in hand with my completely open G center. It's that whole chameleon. You know, I can hear one person's side of the story and go, yeah, I totally see that. And then the other side of the story, and I can go, I can totally see that. It's like a playground. It's like there's all kinds of stuff going on up there, all kinds. And again, the learning here is that, you know, don't make decisions through the mind. Allow it to be either the playground for the undefined, or, you know, this really trustworthy place of specific conceptualization. So the fun piece in all of this is that we get to see the mechanics of all of this. That's the fun piece. We get to see the mechanics. So, you know, when we look at the fears, again, I'm not getting into the fears in these videos, just because you know, they're just quick synapses of the mechanics. But if you want to move forward and you want to understand this a little better, and, you know, if anxiety is something that, you know, again, I'm not a doctor and I'm not diagnosing anything, that's for sure. But what I can tell you, and I can give you some tools on how to see this stuff and how to look at it and not let the mind take us on like such a difficult path, because the mind really is beautiful. We need it. We need our minds, and the only thing is the mind isn't built to make decisions. So when we can use it in a healthy way, it's beautiful. So if anything intrigues you here, and human design is a path you want to like discover a little more, let me know, and we can connect, and definitely you know, see if we can create a coaching package for you or whatever that might look like. All right, thank you very much.